Yes, I probably have the privilege of looking after probably one of the largest businesses in the world and one of the smallest in terms of Singapore. But having said that, there are some travel patterns emerging from both of them which are very similar. If we look at China, for instance, now, projected to hit $400 billion worth of business travel this year alone, making it the world's largest in terms of dollar spend. Currently 200 airports, 20 currently being built, and another 200 forecast for the next 10 years. So you can see the Chinese government are investing heavily in travel, and that is because the areas of focus for them, particularly in terms of their own macro growth, macroeconomics, and the investments they're making, particularly in Southeast Asia, pushing that out to the Middle East and also into Africa. And that's what we're seeing with our client base in China. We've gone from perhaps it still is a very domestic dominated market. And a couple of years ago, that would be 80 to 85% of all travel was domestic. But what we've seen, particularly in our client base in the last 18 months to 2 years, is that's almost doubled. And we're seeing a 30-70 split now. So 30% of these travelers are going outside of China. And that's really because we are seeing a lot of our clients who are in the technology business. A variety of industries, medtech, pharmaceuticals, fintech, payment solutions, anything related to chips and hardware and manufacturing. These businesses are investing outside of China, and we're seeing that hugely, particularly into Southeast Asia and particularly into Singapore. So we have this backwards and forwards between Singapore and China, and we're seeing a huge amount of growth in travel, particularly in this region, related to Chinese businesses wanting to globalize their strategy, and that's really important. When you come to Singapore, we're actually seeing another trend as well in Singapore with universities and education travel. That seems to be a big area of boom for Singapore. And again, it relates somewhere back to the technology and the globalization of strategies. Particularly our university businesses here in Singapore, we are seeing a lot more of that expertise that is built here within Singapore going out into the region, through conferences, through events, through professors traveling and sort of sharing that expertise across the world and across the region. So the travel technology space is growing for us. The companies within that area, not just specific tech companies, but all of the industries that support that are significantly growing. And that's where we're seeing the major shift in terms of coming out of China. I think you have to go right back to the start of any initial discussion when you're bringing on board a new client, and it's understanding what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. So every client will travel for a different reason, whether it's executives traveling for meetings, whether it's engineers traveling to go and fix a piece of hardware in Vietnam or in China. So you really have to understand the mechanics of what that client really wants. And we talk a lot about our global systems, but one of the things that we do very, very well at ATPI is we can create bespoke systems, platforms, and programs for clients. And to be honest, I've been in this business 20 years. I don't think I've seen a client program the same for two clients. They all have their own slight nuances. So I think the key to understanding a true global program is to understand what the client wants to do up front, what is important to them. Is it duty of care? Is it cost-based? Is it efficiency? Is it process? Is it technology? And then delivering the right solution, which may be different in different markets. We talk about globalization of systems, and that's great. But when you're operating in India or in China, the systems are not the same. So as long as we can give the local teams and the local travelers the systems that they need in market, consolidate that data globally, then we can provide the right solutions for the clients.